couple cities in the world on fire, windows being broken, and you said, I feel like I'm back in Iraq. This looks like guerrilla war.
That's what it feels like, and that's what it felt like as my cameraman Pierre and my producer Baz we were dodging in and out of streets with rocks flying and with tear gas firing. And this is an area, well, it's about 5 blocks from where I used to live for several years, and not too far from where we're staying right now at a hotel right in the middle of the classiest city in the world. This is what it's turned into, and this is a big task on the hands of the government right now to deal with this as we hear the remains of the day, the remnants of a nasty, bloody fight, not just here in Paris, but across this country over how the government is handling this. That's for now, that's it, take it.
Thank you so much. Greg Palcott live in Paris. Let's bring in the director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom, Niall Gardner. Now, this is about more than a gas tax increase to fund some environmental agenda. It's about an inability to fund the welfare state in France, is it not?
Well, that's a very good point, Dagan, and I think that, these protests, demonstrations, riots are going to continue across France for weeks, potentially months to come. So this is a huge problem for the French government, an out-of-touch ruling elite headed by Emmanuel Macron that has imposed deeply unpopular taxes. But at the end of the day, France has a vast welfare state system. Government spending accounts for over 56% of GDP. That money has to come somewhere, and so Emmanuel Macron has resorted to imposing, carbon taxes, deeply unpopular taxes. But France is a country that has a fundamental lack of economic freedom. So big government policies over many decades have not resulted in economic benefits for the French people. I think the French people are reacting against this. You also have an imperial-style president in charge who really has a complete lack of empathy, I think, for the French people. So it's a disastrous scenario for France, a humiliation, of course, for Emmanuel Macron, whose approval ratings now have fallen to as low as 20% in some polls. So it's going to be a very rough ride, I think, for the French presidency.
Have they nicknamed him Marie Antoinette yet?
I
mean that as a joke. We know how her life came to an end. I'm joking, but again, it does smack of that a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Macron does have this sort of let them eat cake mentality. He's been compared by a lot of French people to Napoleon, and of course Napoleon met his end at Waterloo. Macron doesn't face re-election until 2022, but there are growing calls across France for Macron to go, and I expect you're not going to see these protests dissipating. This is a president who likes to see himself as the leader of Europe, as the leader of the European Union, who swans around on the world stage while his own capital city is burning. And so I think that, Macron has, vast problems on his hands that are only going to grow bigger, actually, in the coming months.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Niall. More next time, I promise. Niall Gardner with us. Meantime.